Okay, hi everyone. This little video today is going to show you how to take the basic eye structure and to build up on that to give it a few extra embellishments and details and kind of make yours a little bit more individual and personal. I mean, if everybody puts these eyelids above and below and creates this structure, that's great, but ideally you want your creature, as your mask builds up, you want your creature to be slightly different in some way to everybody else's, and this is one point when you can start to add in those differences and those little individual touches. So I'm just going to demonstrate a few of these things now for those of you who have got to this stage and are ready to do this. You can think of this as a kind of like an extension task. Okay, so if you just get up to this stage with both your eyes, that's fine. What I'm about to show you is a way of extending it slightly and kind of pushing yourself into slightly more unique personal territory with your idea. So here in one of my eyes from last week, and what I've done here is I've gathered together a few little extra bits and pieces. So here, this is just like a piece of scrap cardboard, the kind of thing that you might get in a cardboard box that you get a delivery from Amazon or something like that. So kind of standard corrugated cardboard box. These little pieces over here, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail in a second, these are made from some of the offcuts. You might remember last time in the last week's video I said it's a good idea to keep all these little fragments and offcuts of cardboard from your cereal packet. Everything over here, all these shapes have been made using those fragments that I saved from last time. So let's have a look, see what we're going to do with these then. So the first thing, and it's probably the simplest thing really, is this. This is another shape which is absolutely the same concept as the shapes that we used for the upper and lower eyelids last lesson. I've made this one slightly longer and thinner than the ones that I used here. Again, I'm going to bend that so that it sits in a similar three-dimensional way to the shapes that I used for the eyelids. What I'm going to do with this, I think, I'm just going to sort of take this and play with it. I was kind of moving it around earlier and I thought it looks kind of cool if I put it on here like this. It sort of creates an extra sort of layer of wrinkled kind of skin in the eyelid, possibly gives the character that slightly more aggressive look to it. So I think I'm going to put that there. In this piece of cardboard here, I've taken two pieces out. One again is a similar concept, so if I just pop that out there, I've just cut this out before starting the little demonstration. With this cardboard, if you're using this stuff, it can be a little bit more difficult to roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll this tightly around a pen, like that, just to get a nice kind of tight curl in that piece of card. And this one I thought would be quite a nice little fit underneath the eye here. So I think I'm going to add that, something like that, just kind of an extra layer of sort of saggy skin underneath the eye in the bottom half of the eyelid. This piece, now this is kind of interesting. You might remember in the dragon mask, which I'm using I guess as the main demonstration for this. I don't know whether you can see that very clearly or not on the film. Let's turn it around that way. It's got this kind of sort of eye, this kind of hooded sort of eyelid piece here at the top, which kind of sticks out in a fairly perpendicular way to the main kind of head of the mask, if you can see that. This piece of card that I'm taking out of here I'm going to use in a similar way. So this is kind of similar, but it's much deeper than the half moon kind of crescent shapes that I've been using so far. I'll pop that out of there. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut into there, not all the way through, but kind of maybe about halfway through like that, and put a little cut in there. And what that's going to enable me to do is kind of just gently kind of crease, soften my cardboard like this, and then just pull that kind of overlap like this. And what I'm kind of doing there, if that doesn't tear, just needs a little bit of tape just to strengthen that actually. A little bit of my gum tape. Whoops. Put that across there just to give that a little bit more strength so I don't tear what I'm doing. yeah, if I pull that like that, it kind of makes a slightly three-dimensional, kind of curved, sort of kind of hooded like form. I don't know whether you can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fix that in place. All of these ideas, all of these concepts are really, they're about taking a flat sheet, okay, so it's taking that flat sheet of cardboard, and it's about thinking carefully and being inventive about how you can take that flat thing and convert it into something three-dimensional, which I guess is the essence of this whole process, really. Okay, every material that we're using starts life as a flat sheet, but it's through our ingenuity and our kind of clever use of the things that we make it up into these three-dimensional forms. So this is going to be a kind of sort of hooded eyelid. It doesn't quite sit flat. I don't know if you can see that. It doesn't quite sit flat on here because of this kind of V shape now that I've got in here. So I'm going to just need to trim that slightly. So I'm going to just cut that, make it much flatter. So something like that, and then yeah, that's going to sit quite nicely on there. I like that. Maybe a little bit too wide. Yeah, that's going to be cool. That's going to be good up there. And then these final things here, these little pieces I've just cut, these are like little scales. And all I'm going to do with these really is just stick these down with PVA glue. I'll come to those in a moment because there's a slightly different technique that I'm going to show you with those, and also with these little things, which I'll mention in a second. But I'm just going to break there for a second while I stick all of these pieces down using the gum tape in the same way that I did when I stuck the original eyelids on. Okay, so just take a break for a second, and I'll come back in a moment when these things are stuck down. All right, so yeah, here we go. So all these pieces are fixed on now. Yeah, really thoroughly. So nice and kind of thorough with little bits of brown tape all the way around like that, trying to make sure everything's stuck down with no edges kind of flapping up, or yeah, and that's kind of starting to look quite characterful now. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we've just got a couple more layers there, building up the complexity of our structure a little bit more. So I mentioned these things over here. So over here I've got some little scales. I've got some that are cut out from my cereal box stuff, and I've got some that are cut out from the same material as I made this kind of hooded part. These things, we're just going to stick them down with PVA glue. So we're not using tape this time, so this is where you need your glue again. Now with these, I'm just going to put a little sort of scaled area just kind of underneath the eye, so the skin looks a little bit kind of crustier, a bit crispier, if you like, in this sort of area around here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off first of all a little bit of blob of glue once again. Remember, don't put this directly onto tables at home. Try and use a kind of lid or empty kind of plastic pot of some sort. A little bit of glue on there, and I'm going to start to stick these down. Now, what I'm going to begin by doing is just start by putting a little kind of rim of these around here like this. Okay, just in this area over here. And then I'm going to put the next row. Now the next set of scales, if you're going to go for like a scaly effect, or this is a kind of cool way of doing it. So here I've got 4 scales in a row. My next set of scales are going to go overlapped slightly and kind of midway between. Okay, so this is going to go there. This one here I'm going to put here. So I'm sort of building up a kind of layered bit of glue on the back of there like that. Kind of layered scaly texture down here. I think I'll put one more, a bit more glue. Make sure that's in shot. Okay, so a little bit more glue there. That one goes there, that's quite nice. And then I think we'll just have another one at the top as well. Like that. And then these fat kind of chunky ones here, I'm going to save these for the sort of inner layer. So again, between. glue. There's nothing special about these shapes that I've cut out here. They're just kind of sort of fairly roughly cut, sort of rounded shapes. But it's the it's the kind of beauty of working in this way, really. You kind of make it up as you go along. And if you put something on and you don't like it, it's okay. Take it off before the glue dries. You can change your mind. It's really, it's like so many things in art, I think, that it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, oh my goodness me, I can't make a mistake here. But actually, I don't know of many things in the kind of day-to-day practice of making art that you can't in some way go back and change or correct or alter if you're not happy. So here's my sort of scaly kind of area just around the side of the eye here. The other thing that I've got is these two little bits. Now these, if I just bring that in close, these are just really, really simple little discs of cardboard cut and then glued one on top of another. These are just going to be warts, like little kind of sort of horrible little gnarly warty spot things. I've got two of these. One of them I'm going to put on here, I think, quite like that. Again, a little bit of PVA glue. And the other one, where shall I put the other one? Just over here, I think. Okay, so this one here is just going to go there. And there you have it. So if you are at the stage this week where you've finished all of the other stages of the mask that we've shown you, this is what we would like you to do, this type of thing. You don't have to do all of the things that I've done here. It may be that you choose some of them and don't bother with others. It may be that you kind of have your own idea of something that you'd like to try, which works on a similar principle, but isn't the same as what I've done here. That's also absolutely fine. As I said at the beginning, the purpose of all of this stuff really is to individualize what you're doing a little bit more. But what we must remember as we're kind of doing this all the time is we're thinking about building up three-dimensionality, okay? And you're trying to build it up in this way. Yeah, getting everything as secure and well stuck down as you possibly can. So, that's it. It's really, really important that you post what you're doing to Padlet. We're having a few kind of issues at the moment, I think, with certain people in upper schoolroom or certain groups in upper schoolroom where work is not being posted to Padlet as often as it should be. It's very, very important this week that whatever stage you're at with your mask, even if you're only kind of at that stage where you've only just sort of finished and built that, we need to see, we need to know where you're at so we can give you some feedback during the live lessons. So whatever you get to this week, please make sure that you photograph it and put it onto Padlet. If there's an issue with Padlet, you can't use it, or maybe you're a little bit self-conscious about what you've done and you're not sure you want to share it publicly, that's okay. Just make sure that Freya or Emily, whoever your class teacher is, make sure that they get an email with some images of what you've been doing this week so we can give you a bit of feedback. So yeah, good luck, enjoy, and we'll see you in a week's time.